Welcome to On the Spot with OPPO, where we connect you with inspiring entrepreneurs and innovators making their mark. Today we're here in Singapore for the OPPO Find N5 launch, and we're very happy and honored to have with us Chen Jianhao.
Yes.
Welcome to On the Spot with OPPO. So Jianhao, to start, can you give us a quick self-introduction about yourself and walk us through your professional journey?
Sure. So today I'm the regional head of OEM and global mobility partnerships, and what that entails is working closely with handset manufacturers to figure out ways to embed our services and also off-demand platform generation. And what we mean by that is today we have existing integrations with Alipay and WeChat, so all those kind of integration falls under my portfolio as well. In terms of my career journey, I started off as a consultant and then slowly make my way towards more partnerships, more tech-driven careers, and then landed to where I am today at Grab.
Okay. Yeah, and looking back at your career, you've been through various industries. Were there key milestone moments or defining moments of your career?
For me, definitely was the first role I had, which is in consulting, right? During my time when everyone graduated, the option was going to accounting in the Big Four, going to investment banking or consulting. I ended up choosing consulting because I feel that as a stepping stone going into the workforce, I would get a lot of this holistic skills, right? I mentioned analytical skills, communication, presentation skills, and this really formed a very strong foundation in terms of where I'm heading next. So for me, consulting was really the big change I had to go into before launching my career into the various industries I go after that.
Got it. May I ask which consulting firm it was?
Sure, I started with Accenture.
Okay.
And over there, involved in a variety of projects from various industries. So I did telco, I did oil and gas, I did a little bit of business development as well.
Yeah. Okay. That's very good background information, context about your professional journey. But why Grab? Like, why did you transition to Grab from your previous banking role, right?
Yeah, you won't be the first to ask me that, right? Many other friends ask me as well. Banking has this prestige when it comes to, obviously,
you've got a halo,
well-paid bonuses and stuff like that. But moving away from that, I really felt a calling to Grab is because I really believe in the mission, right? What Grab is doing. So Grab's mission is to drive Southeast Asia forward by creating economic empowerment for everyone. And not just being able to serve the consumers, but also our merchant partners and driver partners. To me, that's really a very big mission I want to be a part of. And after joining Grab, I started noticing that Grab is, while they're a big tech company, it is still run like sort of a startup, right? It gives you opportunity to excel. It gives you opportunity to get challenges. It gives you the opportunity to put your hand up and say, hey, I want to try to do something within the organization. And the autonomy given to us, it's really quite broad and quite great, right, in that sense. So we have the control to do what we want. We have the ability to connect with whoever we want within an organization, pretty flat hierarchy. So that attracted me to the organization along with the strong mission they had.
Lovely. I'm sure you've been working on fun projects, and maybe you can share some of that in the later part of the podcast.
Sure, happy to.
Lovely. And yeah, you've been in consulting, media, e-commerce, banking. How have these diverse experiences shaped up your leadership approach?
Sure. So across the various career opportunities which I've embarked on and experienced so far, the one thing which helped me along the way and also improved along the way is communication skills. When I started as a consultant, you really do a lot of pitching and presenting, right? Understanding your client's needs. But as it evolves, it really helped that I improved to be a better listener as well.
Yes.
Especially in my current role at Grab when I'm doing partnerships, right? It's really good to understand from the client perspective, what is it they really want? And once you understand the wants, then how do you then convey a win-win situations to both your partners and see how we can work things together?
Yeah.
So throughout this, especially with leadership skills, communication is key, not just towards partners, but also to the team. And alongside that as well, always be, open to the idea of asking questions. Right? Definitely. Oftentimes we hear people, sit behind meetings or sit in discussions, having a burning questions, but not being able to ask it. So I think this is also key, not just in communication, but also be open to ask and also entertain questions in some of these settings.
Definitely. yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta do it, right? If you have this urge, but you miss it, you don't know when's the next opportunity.
Correct, and it might be a very important question, right? Because they say if you have that question, most likely someone in the room have that same question as well.
Yes. That makes sense. And this brings me to to try to link it to our audience. You know, I'm sure some of our audience, they're starting out in their career. You know, they feel overwhelmed by trying to switch industries. What advice would you give to young professionals looking to make a similar career move? Right. What are some
So what's what key things to consider when they're making any of these transitions, right? So for me personally is one, if you have transferable skills you've obtained through your careers, that's great, especially if those transfer skills are even on the softer side of things, right? Problem solving, analytical skills, those can be easily transitioned to other industries or even other roles, very easily applicable. But for me, the big thing I would say, especially someone just starting out, would be to really pick a good manager, because a good manager can really make or break your role, right? They kind of determine your progress, your growth within the organization. So picking a good manager to me is as critical as picking the right role and the company, right? So do not underestimate the benefit of picking a good manager in career progression, right? So that to me is key, and often at times I feel people are so fixated about the company and the role that they forgot about picking a good manager. Yeah.
To echo into your point in picking a good manager, I think it's also important to pick up a good mentor. The way I see it, picking a manager is it's within the organization, someone who you work with or you report to, your direct line manager. But for a mentor, it doesn't have to be someone within the organization. It could be, someone you reach out to LinkedIn, or you met through like an alumni network, networking events, LinkedIn. Yeah. Do you have a mentor like during your extensive career experience?
Yeah, I mean, along to what you just said, right? A mentor doesn't have to be your manager. And in fact, to me, sometimes I also feel that
it's better.
And the person who is actually your mentor, sometimes they don't need to actually know that, hey, I'm treating you as my mentor. Take, for example, I've always remember in this role where I was consulting for a media company. And back then, this person was my boss, my manager. But until today, I still keep in touch with this person because I feel that he's an individual who has a lot of insights. And whenever he presents, he speaks with clarity. And so I do count this person as my mentor. I reach out to him whenever I need career advice. I reach out to him whenever I feel that, hey, want to get his insights on certain topics. So he's someone I consider my mentor. But as you said, until today, he's no longer my manager, but I still keep in touch with him.
Oh, yeah, that's very insightful. Jianhao, but you mentioned you're working in Grab, right?
Yeah.
I was expecting you to wear something green or something.
I know. I must have came out of the house in a rush. I wanted to put on a jacket, but I forgot about it.
Oh, and you just flew in from Changi Airport.
Yes.
Thanks for coming.
Of course. Always happy to be able to spend time with OPPO, for sure.
Yeah, lovely. And yeah, this brings me to my next question. Grab, you guys are very big in Southeast Asia. It's one of the leading super apps, integrating everything from ride-hailing to financial services. What has been your role in shaping its regional partnerships?
Right. So, as mentioned earlier, right, Grab's mission is really creating economic empowerment for everyone in Southeast Asia, right, and drive the region forward. So one way to do that as part of partnership as well is to ensure that our user base continue to grow. This would ensure our driver partners and merchant partners consistently have good demand, right? Good volumes, good orders coming in from them. So at my current role today also is then working out with partners and figure out how can we grow this user base, right? So take, for example, we have a partnership with OPPO, where we figure out ways to ensure the OPPO users within Southeast Asia have seamless access to our services. And we want to be where the users are. So whether it's reading the news, browsing social media, or even waiting for a Grab ride. We want to ensure we give them the right entry points for them to engage with our services.
That's, OPPO is big in Southeast Asia, Grab is big in Southeast Asia.
Exactly.
Yeah,
a good match.
Yeah, it's a very good match. There's overlapping user demographics. And maybe can you jump into more details about the partnership that is done with OPPO?
Yes. So we started off really working on the mobile device. So we're working on one of OPPO's new features, I would say, from the new OS. It's called OPPO Shelf. And on Shelf, what we did was we introduced what they call smart service cards. Essentially, these are like cards on the -1 screen on the shelf, which gives tailored recommendation based on the user's behavior and preferences. So for example, we know a user's in a certain location, we can recommend food nearby. We know a user's in a certain location, and if it's raining, we can say, hey, why don't you take a Grab ride because it's raining? And while it is started at the start, it's a very small group of users having access to these services, we have started to see very good results. So the cards have helped increase our transaction and engagement rates. So in the near future, we hope to bring this feature to even more OPPO users.
Oh, wow. And how many users are using these functions right now?
Oh, this one is in the millions. So we haven't publicly disclosed this information.
No worries.
But it's a good user base in Southeast Asia.
Got it. Yeah, and do you drive in Singapore or it's always...
Yes.
Okay, so I thought you would be like grabbing all the time.
You'll be surprised. Even folks in Singapore who drive, at times we take the Grab because Singapore parking is expensive.
Oh yeah. Owning a car is expensive.
Exactly.
Before owning a car, you need to get a COE, right?
Yes.
Oh my God.
That is expensive. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Singapore's very expensive. Like, as I mentioned before this, I've been living in Singapore for 12 years, and yeah, my impression of Singapore is stuck in the 2000 to 2010,
right?
Where the char kway teow, the carrot cake is like $1, $1.50.
No more.
How much is it right now? Cheapest.
Oof, you probably can get something for about $5-6.
That's like 500-600%.
Yeah, you could probably get something for $6. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So your salary boosted.
we can all hope for, right? We can all be hopeful. But hopefully with Grab as well, we help. Even like we talked about car being expensive, right?
Yep.
Hopefully, some of these folks can get on board the platform and do what we call Grab share, right? Grab hitch, and then they can then alleviate some of these costs around the region as well.
Definitely.
To earn some side income.
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, with AI being the buzzword,
Yep.
Do you think it's here to stay?
For sure. I mean, just looking at everything around us, right? Last year, I think someone did a report and said that if you do a quick read or quick search of everyone's annual report, AI, the word comes up all the time. Even some companies where you don't expect AI pops up as well, right?
Toothpaste powered by AI.
Yes, even that, right? Even to that extent. But at least at Grab, we're very proud to say that we have really embarked on being an AI-first company. Right, so we have used AI in a number of things, right? Be it optimizing routes so that we get our consumers to destinations quicker and hence saving them costs as well. We use AI to improve our security on our platforms, reducing fraud, so that helps reduce costs as well. We work with partners to use our AI models to give them tailored insights on our user behaviors, right?
Gotcha.
In fact, at Grab, we take it seriously. Last year, we had 2 months where we completely went dark. In a sense, what we mean by that is we stopped all projects. Everything put on hold, just using the 2 months to essentially get everyone to transition to an AI mindset. And also where we started experimenting and doing solutions around generative AI. So this is how serious we are with AI, right? So we believe AI is here to stay. And we believe AI can definitely be here to help anyone in the industry improve the efficiency and also obviously save time.
It's interesting that you mentioned generative AI. In what applications for the generative AI are you guys working on?
So some things we can share now. It's very simple in things like our marketing team or our design teams. At times now they use generative AI. We give them a prompt and say that, hey, get me, I give you a situation, right? I know a cat doing something or something along those lines, right? We use generative AI to generate these assets. Versus in the past, our designers will have to spend quite a bit of time to come up with these assets. And even on the marketing side, coming up with the copyright. So generative AI has really helped us in this aspect. But alongside that as well, in terms of broader AI, we use that internally to improve efficiency when it comes to our coding. So our engineers also use AI to proofread their code, to check their codes.
Double check, triple check, yeah.
Correct. So that's really helpful for us. So we feel that we are only just getting started.
Yeah. And we're also seeing a shift towards connected ecosystems. mobility, payments, commerce, everything's merging. How do you see this evolution impacting businesses and consumers in the next 5 years?
5 years, wow. Anything can happen in 5 years. I think it's very hard these days to predict so far ahead, right? But even within the next 1 year, if I'd be so bold to say that we can probably strengthen the connectivity a lot more. What we mean by that is at Grab, from a consumer standpoint, for example, when users start taking Grab rides, ordering Grab food, we understand their behavior. And you layer on then the payment side of things, right? They make payments, they probably open a digital bank account with us. We get to understand their spending habits a lot more. And through all of this data set, we can then come up with sort of, I would say maybe like a credit score to say, hey, consumer, based on your spending habits, based on all these things, this is a loan amount we can offer you, right? And to some consumers, that might be highly beneficial because some of them might not have, I guess, a very long track record of probably financial history and stuff like that with banks. So they're probably slightly out of the bank.
Yeah.
And so getting access to this line of credit might be helpful for them. Yeah. And if you contrast it also on the merchant side, it's the same thing. Because they're on our platform, we have an understanding of their day-to-day earning potential. We have an understanding of their credit history because when it comes to making certain payments.
Yeah,
right?
so you guys are also like providing these value-added services for your merchants and users.
Correct. And in fact, if you go to our Grab website, again, there's a lot of these use cases where we talk about how we've helped merchants kind of grow their business. And similarly on the Grab website, just to go back on the AI, we have a ton of our AI use case there as well in terms of how we're expanding it to the rest of our service lines. How do we impact consumers and merchant partners?
Yes.
Yeah, all of those things you can find it on our Grab website.
Got it. And circling back to AI, Sam Altman mentioned that now it's possible to have a one-man companies with valuations up to $1 billion.
Right.
How realistic do you think this would be?
Well, my personal opinion, I think it's highly unlikely, right? At least from where we're coming from, I'm coming from at least, it's very difficult for AI to completely replace humans at this point. And AI is there to help us become better, become more efficient, right? There are still things where we need a bit of human touch, right? When it comes to nuances, when it comes to understanding certain cultural differences or reading the room, right? We feel that that's something AI, at least today, have not been able to master. So
that's an interesting note because I would argue that AI would be able to understand human, there's micro expressions better than humans.
Let's see. I think only time will tell. But again, my personal view. So let's see what happens in the near future.
Okay, and Jianhao, for the Finance Club itinerary, we also included an AI workshop where Professor Sam hosted this in the NUS campus. Yeah, one of the key takeaways for me was, with AI, with ChatGPT, DeepSeek introduced, it just decreases the value of hard work, and people don't feel that putting in hard work is as important as our generation, I would say. What are your views on this?
Yeah, that's an interesting point of view, right? And I get where it's coming from to say that with AI, you can do so much things now, right? Like, for example, I don't know, when it comes to even summarizing an article, right? Hard work would entail reading it line by line, understanding the gist.
I remember doing a research paper, 10-page.
Correct. And now you can, and I'm guilty of it too, right? I said, okay, look, I want to do insights. Can you summarize for me insights from all these articles? And I paste like 10 links, right? And then the AI would scour everything and give me the insights and everything. But I feel that if someone just takes that and reproduces it, I think there's a risk of error. There's a risk of biases, right? Because again, it's based on what input, right? The output is only as good as what input goes in, right? So I do feel hard work still comes in when it comes to getting the right prompts on AI, understanding and checking back again to what the output is, and then layer on additional insights, right? Oftentimes while I use, like for example, ChatGPT to summarize a bunch of things, at the end I always improve the prompt, say, okay, great, now layer on this other A, B, C, D, E. I'll consider these other points, right? So I think hard work still comes in. I think if someone randomly just takes the output and presents it, I think that's not utilizing AI to its fullest. So that's why I feel that hard work still plays a part in everything we do.
Definitely. Yeah, it's funny because I think like with ChatGPT, there was like a funny thing where I think if you put in a prompt, please spell strawberry.
Yes, I've seen this. Yes.
Strawberry, STRAWBERRY.
Yeah.
Boom, there you go.
No, I've seen this, right? And oftentimes you go online, there's a lot of these posts as well trying to say that, oh, ChatGPT
Ridicule ChatGPT's prompt. Yeah.
Correct. But I think no one can ignore the fact that it is here to stay and it has helped us tremendously.
It is powerful.
So we should kind of work alongside and see how we can help each other and really improve, right? Whether it's on the algorithm, the accuracy.
Yeah. And how do you use AI in your day-to-day workflow?
So personally for me, really research, summarizing articles. Sometimes I use AI to also brainstorm and bounce ideas off. A lot of people don't know this, but it's very good to use ChatGPT and role play. Right, so you go to ChatGPT and say, assume this and this role, and then you give your pitch, and then the person will actually give you feedback.
It's a good simulation for
exactly
this different,
and especially when it comes to a difficult conversation. Right. Here's something. Right, try ChatGPT before your next performance review. And then give it a topic to say, hey, how do you ask your manager for a raise? And then you keep the role playing going. And then you'll be interesting to see what kind of insights and ideas you can get from there.
That's a very good way to use the tool, to use the AI.
Yes, and many people haven't considered that as well, right? So.
And Jianhao, can you walk us through your day-to-day, what's a day like for you at Grab?
Sure. I wish there was a typical day with me and my team and the rest of the group business development team, but it's never that because of the nature of work we're in, right? We are plugged into the organization and we are supporting various stakeholders, various leaders. It's quite fluid. But I would say a typical day would involve us getting in, clearing a bunch of emails. More often than not, when we clear emails with responses, we use ChatGPT as well to draft some of those responses. But then throughout that, it's really meetings, whether it's internal stakeholders, whether it's partners. That takes up bulk of our time when it comes to meetings. So in between, oftentimes with our team, we always find slots where we have lunch together. Again, it just helps to take a bit of break from the work, right? So we
decompress a bit.
Correct. We always schedule time to catch up within the team, and then for us, it's back to meetings, right? The one thing I would say about our role is we do have a bit of autonomy in terms of determining how the schedule is run. So that's something the whole team appreciates. But typically, day-to-day, 9, 10 emails, bunch of meetings, all the way to the end, and then we go home. Right?
Also 9 to 10, like 9 a.m. to 10 p.m.?
Sometimes, not all the time.
Okay,
all the times. Probably around 6. Then
9 to 6.
Yeah. But because again, as mentioned, the nature of a role, if something comes up at night,
you gotta pull it. You gotta pull the all-nighter.
You gotta do, and then the boss says, you just say, okay, I'll do it, right? Yeah.
It's always the grind, right?
Always the grind, yes. Not unique to Grab.
Not unique to Grab. I feel you. And in your role, you're constantly juggling multiple tasks, calls, emails, and analysis, reports, and traveling. Yes?
Yes.
How important is having the right tech setup to manage everything efficiently?
Very important, right? A lot of my colleagues, they have smartwatches because at times they just want to ditch their phone, get plugged up, but at the same time, if they have an important message, they still get to see emails coming in, chats coming in from their smartwatch. But for me, at least, it's a mobile phone and laptop wherever I go. Sometimes when I go on breaks as well, not all the time, but oftentimes I have to carry my laptop just in case, right? You have to do a report, you have to do some analysis. So for me, the smartphone, the laptop, the way to go. I can do everything on the road. All good.
Wow. So you have a laptop, a phone, smartwatch?
Smartwatch, not yet. Maybe get something from OPPO.
Oh, and affordable.
Yes, affordable for sure.
Yeah. You haven't tried. You haven't.
No, I haven't experienced it.
Do you wanna try it?
Of course. The world's slimmest foldable phone. It's nice. And it's light.
It is light. It's 229 grams, 8.93 millimeters thickness, less than a centimeter.
Yeah. I've always so far been a one screen kind of guy, but I can see the appeal of having a foldable phone where there's like a much larger screen, especially when you're reading documents.
When I'm doing this podcast, needing some...
No, for sure. Just waiting for this to launch, and then we'll see the price, and then, maybe we'll pull the trigger.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I think, a lot of good products, I think it's still dependent on price. And even if the price is right, sometimes it might not work, right?
Yes, of course.
But yeah, that's fingers crossed. Yeah.
Yes, even with Grab services, right? Also price, must see whether the price is right.
Oh yeah, it's like when search period, the price might be more expensive. I might just sit out.
I have to put it out there, right? When it comes to search, I need to clarify some of this, I would say, myth, right? Grab has nothing to do with these search prices, all supply and demand.
Lovely. Yeah, I mean, it's the data that's prompting these
the pricing algorithm and everything.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, and this brings me to a point where when you talked about decompressing, right? How do you keep your balance? How do you keep your cool in work when pressure is mounting?
Yeah, so I know everyone has various tools that would help them. At least for me, I always feel that I start my day with a to-do list. So usually what happens is the night before, maybe 1 hour before bed, I come up with a list in terms of what do I want to focus on the next day, right? The list can be anywhere from 5 to 10 items.
Wow.
And then in the morning, I make sure that I open the list and get started from there.
So that's how you end your evenings, how you end your nights.
Yeah, in a way.
So you're already working before you work the next day.
I wouldn't consider it working, more like making sure the next day I can sort of have a clarity in terms of what I want to work on, because with our nature of role, there's things coming on from all over the place, right? And you know what they say, when everything is important, nothing is important, right?
So you prioritize.
Correct, so we prioritize. And again, this 10 list of items, I may not get through all of them throughout the day, right? But there's the whole practice of breaking tasks up to small manageable tasks, little tasks. To me, that helps alleviate some of the stress and pressure, right? And as you go through a list, you have ticks, those are like little wins, and then we celebrate that along the way. But definitely breaking tasks down and also taking breaks throughout the day definitely helps.
You know MBTI, right?
Yes.
Can I guess your MBTI?
You can guess, but I forgot what was mine, I'll be honest. At least I know there's something about E somewhere.
J. I think you're a J. You're a J.
I'm a J?
Are you a J?
I have to read. I haven't done this in 8 years.
We'll connect back after you do the test.
They say you have to do this every 1-2 years, right? Because it changes.
Yeah,
right?
it always changes.
But I think I'm.
I guess you're definitely E. And
maybe
T. ENTJ.
We can connect after this, and we'll see whether how accurate that is. For sure.
I hope it's not the total opposite, because I already got the E right.
I think the E would be there. The E has been a constant throughout.
Yeah. And one last question to wrap up the series. How do you keep your personal life and your work life balanced to guarantee your mental well-being?
Yeah, so I think this is a very good one to end, right? Because for me, I personally really believe in mental health, and I really believe that throughout the years, even 10, 20 years ago, it's still like a taboo topic.
Oh yeah. Especially today, in Asian cultures. Right?
Exactly, right? Yeah. Everyone's like saying, what is this mental,
Yeah, why are you so weak?
Correct. Along those lines, right? During my times, I've toughened it out and stuff like that, right?
Be a man.
So I'm glad that in today's world, everyone's a bit more open talking about it, right? So personally for me is I feel taking breaks, back to your point, helps, making sure there's time to do your hobbies, connect with your loved ones. So whenever I'm spending time with my loved ones, my wife, my son, I disconnect, I leave my phone aside and I don't touch my phone. Even on holidays, when I can, I leave my phone aside and I don't touch my phone. So having that space to connect with loved ones and really unplug yourself from the working world, I think that helps a lot. It's important to know, especially for the younger folks just starting on their careers, right? For me, mental health is no longer like a luxury thing, right? It is like a necessity, especially when you're charting out your future career growth plans. So always remember that for work, for career, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So mental health is something that I urge everyone to really focus on.
Yes.
And then that would ensure that you don't burn out and you keep consistent in terms of everything you do.
Start looking into it. You need to have a good mind and body to keep doing great works. That's how you stay productive.
Exactly. Yeah. And someone with good mental health, physical health, everything. You rub off people as well in a very good way. People
Yes.
feel your energy and aura.
As I mentioned, I saw you in the lobby, like, oh, good energy, but you told me you were
tired. I'm tired.
tired, you're tired, but
But yes,
yeah,
yes,
you
I'm
still
not.
struck off.
I'm glad to be able to be here, spend some time with OPPO. So always happy.
Lovely,
to be
lovely.
here.
And I won't keep you for too long because you'll have to head to the next meeting.
Thank you. It's been
Yeah.
a pleasure. Great
Yeah.
chatting with you.
With that, that's it for this episode of On the Spot with OPPO. Thank you very much, Jianhao.
Thank you. Pleasure
you.
being here. Thank you.